Bills going into Foxborough to take on the Patriots. 9-4 Buffalo taking on 11-2 New England. Buffalo is currently a 1.5-point favorite on the road, despite losing to them earlier this year in Buffalo. Taco Bell's Lux Cravings boxes give you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites, $7 gets you the fancy stuff, and 9 sends you on a journey of flavor exploration. Get yours at participating stores for a limited time. Prices and participation may vary. Drinks excludes freezes, tax extra.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Friday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then, and we got a fun one today as we had an excellent Thursday night football game that was back and forth. And Kirk Cousins, who essentially has been a grandpa since he was like a rookie in this league with the way he talks, comes out and is a stud on Thursday night, which means via the transitive property that Phillip Rivers is going to be awesome when he takes the field on Sunday.
Is that the correlation we're making?
Yep. If he is indeed the starter for the Indianapolis Colts. So it was a fun Thursday night game. We'll get into it. Steve Harmtan's going to be here for his regular Friday appointment. Of course, we're going to give you our top 5 in the NFL because we failed to do it on Wednesday. Again, another big shout out to everybody who donated over the past few days for the Rady Children's Give-a-thon. Almost $500,000 coming in because of our listeners. Thank you so much. You can still go to radyfoundation.org if you want to make that year-end donation, but that was a really powerful couple of days this week. All right, Thursday night football we'll get to in a second. I did want to have a question for the text line today, so we're going to throw this out there at the beginning of the show. Feel free to respond throughout. What was that moment in your life that you felt like you were getting old? I think I just had mine earlier this week, Sammy, and I'm about to be 30, so it makes sense that it would come at this time.
What? You're about to be 30?
I'm about to be 30, March.
Wow.
I know, Grandpa Fletch.
So when have I felt old? I don't know
that this question necessarily.
Yeah, I don't really think I've ever felt. I guess I drove past my high school the other day going back to my house, and I was surprised at how small all the kids were walking, and I was like, I don't remember us being that small, but I'm sure we were, but I don't really remember. I don't never really felt old.
That's good. And stay that way as long as you can. I think it just happened to me for the first time in my life.
Well, what happened?
I bought a vacuum on Cyber Monday, and then I was really excited to open it up and use it for the first time. So like household appliances getting me really, really excited. I think that counts.
So you just purchased a vacuum. Like was your old vacuum broken, or were you just like, we need an upgrade? We need to really make sure we're getting up all the hair from Brock the dog in the house.
We've had the same vacuum since we moved to San Diego, and that was 2018. So my wife and I, since we've moved here, we've had the same vacuum, and I'm the only one that vacuums in the house, and it's terrible. I've hated it since the day we got it, and it hardly works. And it was a big purchase at the time. And so finally, Cyber Monday, woke up, saw the deals coming down, bought myself a brand new vacuum, and God, Sammy, it's so good. It has little lights on the front so you can see all the little particles you're picking up.
Are you saying that only old people vacuum? Let's not be offensive to just people who want to keep their house clean. Fletch.
When's the last time you picked up a vacuum, Sammy?
I like to vacuum. I'm a little OCD. I'm a little clean freak. I don't like when everything's I don't like a bunch of crumbs. You see crumbs on the ground? I pull the vacuum out. I also kill spiders with it.
Are you sure it kills them, or does it just suck them up into the little thing?
Yeah, they're like little things. They're not going to survive going up a tube at a high rate of speed.
I think they might.
No, they don't.
Have you ever heard the one about the spider that falls down the
How
drain?
are they going to survive in a vacuum, in a little tube where they can't move?
Itsy bitsy spider, Sammy. It crawled up the chimney. It's a whole song about it being able to survive all of that. But anyways, what was that moment that you felt old for the first time? We'd love to hear it for you here on a Friday. I bought a vacuum, and I got really excited about opening it up and using it for the first time, as if it was like a PS5 when I turned 15 and you open it up and you're like, oh my God, a PlayStation.
Big weekend at the Home Depot over Fletch tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Can't wait for it. Actually, I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow, believe it or not. So it is a big weekend. All right. San Diego Sports 760. Let's get into it. Thursday night football. Kirk Cousins is the hero last night. And he really was. Kirk Cousins, a lot gets made about him in primetime. And that was yet another theme going into pregame yesterday. And I get it. Look, his career started off. He was really bad on Thursday nights. He's almost even that record up. He's 5-6 now, career on Thursday Night Football. And he was fantastic last night. Somehow Kyle Pitts had a massive game, like one of the best games from a tight end since Shannon Sharp. 3 touchdowns, over 160 yards. Bijan Robinson did his normal thing. With all that being said, this looked like it was the Bucs game for the majority of it. They had the big lead. What was it, 24-14 at one point?
Yeah. Well, it looked like they were taking control of the game there in the second half.
And they were. And it looked like the Bucs were going to run away with this, maybe further establish themselves in the lead of the NFC South. But then all of a sudden, the Falcons in the fourth quarter just surge all the way back in the midst of a 19 penalty game for the Falcons. Look, it was a fun watch for everybody but the officials last night. They were calling absolutely everything in the game, but the Falcons overcome it all, get the win. And now you look at the Bucs like, oof, I mean, you guys got healthy and Mike Evans played nice, but are we positive that this isn't going to be the Carolina Panthers division?
I think what you've seen, and we've talked about this with countless teams. I think the Eagles and Chiefs are primary examples of this. You won a lot of close games, especially the Chiefs last year, and then all of a sudden it evens out. Now you're not winning those close games. Let's go back to the first month of the season. Baker Mayfield, and this is a credit to the Bucs that they were able to win these games. But what did they win? 4 or 5 straight comeback wins late in the fourth quarter. So credit to them for doing it. But I think you're starting to see like maybe we got a little bit too high on the Bucs early, and not saying just because they lost this game, it's obviously not headed in the right direction. You lose this game to the Bucs, you lose at the Saints last week, 2 teams that, despite being in your division, you should be better than it should be winning, especially this one, because you thought that you kind of had your shock division loss to the Saints. You thought you'd be able to beat Kirk, and they were down a lot of guys in that game for the Falcons. But credit to Kirk, credit to the Falcons. But Todd Bowles after the game had some really interesting comments. Basically, he said the coaching staff did everything they needed to do, and the players essentially have to want to win. So I don't really know what's going on down there in Tampa, but I feel like the Bucs still have a higher upside in the postseason than the Panthers did. I know we got into this yesterday, so I think if you're the rest of the NFC, I would much rather play the Panthers than the Bucs, because the Bucs can drop 30 on any given night, because they have so much talent offensively. But I do think you're starting to see that defense downslide from those years that they had with Brady.
That is one of those losses, though, that at the end of the season, you go back and you look at what the score was in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, and you're like, man, if we would have held on to that game, we would have been atop our division going into the postseason. We would have been hosting the first playoff game, and things could have gone very, very differently. But you blow that lead, you blow a game in which the opponent had 19 penalties in it, and it's just one of those that I'm not sure you can fight back from. Now, on the Falcons side of things, they're already eliminated from the postseason, right? They're not getting in. I don't think, they're already out. So for the Falcons, this is just you're rooting for other teams in your division, and that's great. A lot of teams are going to have a lot of fun doing that. And that's certainly what went down last night. All right, we'll get to the big 3 here in just a second. Did want to read a couple of these comments from SD Tyler. Hell of a first game back from injury for Mike Evans. He was fantastic, wasn't he? Looked like the old Mike Evans. He was up over 100 yards as well. And our buddy Jamar says, I knew I was getting old when being out past 9 o'clock started to sound miserable, miserable in all caps. I'm with you, Jamar. So get those comments in on YouTube and on the text line as well.
619 says, going up against Kyle Pitts in fantasy in the semifinals, what is life? 619, I'm sorry, man. So that's brutal.
The more common theme, 619, is people who have Kyle Pitts on their team but left him on the bench because he hasn't done anything all year.
First off,
35 standard fantasy points last night.
First off, this game alone is going to continue the Kyle Pitts fantasy football saga, because this game alone is going to get him taken next year, probably in the top 2 rounds, because everyone's going to fall in love. Kelsey's on the downturn. Kittle's getting older. You got a lot of your veteran guys who have dominated the tight end position for so long. Kyle Pitts will get drafted, way overdrafted next year, and the same thing will be happening, and people will be pissed off.
But it's games like that from Kyle Pitts that make you think, why are you not always doing this? Kyle Pitts is a freak athlete. He's fantastic, and you can see it in spurts. And last night it was for a whole game. But man, why is he not like this all the time? He could be the best tight end in football, and that's not even close to being. No,
he has all the measurables to be the best tight end in football.
It's crazy that he isn't. All right, let's get to the big 3, Sammy. And if you want to text the show 70470, start your message with team. But Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers. It's time for the top stories of the day. The big 3.
858 just texted in, and this is the most true I'm getting old text I've ever seen. Said, I'm 27 now, and for the first time in my life, I get hangovers. Kicks my ass. Hard to believe how I used to drink in college. Could never be me now.
Gotta get that Pedialyte, baby.
It's true, man. Something changes, and it was around 27 for me too. But in college, it was nonstop. It was every day of the week you're drinking, and then you would wake up for class at 6 a.m. and you're fine. You wake up at 6 a.m. for pickup basketball and you're fine. Now, if I
think you make yourself older though.
If I have a heavy night of drinking, I'm toast for.
No, I'm saying you
3 days.
personally. You like to play that you're older than you are.
I'm about to be 30, Sammy. That's old. I'm bald, Sammy. That's old.
Well, then you were old at 16. if that's the criteria we're
19
using.
and you know it.
Let's go to Thursday Night Football.
Been married for 4 years. Goodness gracious.
Kirk Cousins had a really good night last night, especially considering the amount of receivers that he had that were hurt last night. Would you like to see Kirk Cousins though be a shot to be a starting quarterback in the league next season with someone else?
I do feel like he's earned it. I think that the Falcons kind of fast tracked Kirk Cousins towards retirement when they drafted Michael Penix. And Kirk Cousins wasn't bad when he finished up in Minnesota. He was injured when he was finishing up, and then he got more injured when he got to the Falcons.
That was the year they had the 30-point comeback against the Colts. And
right.
The offense was unbelievable that year.
Like Kirk Cousins, and correct me if I'm wrong, has never had a bad season in his NFL career. He was down when he was with the Falcons, and then he got hurt. Was it his Achilles? I'm pretty sure it was his Achilles.
Yeah.
And then Michael Penix took over. And so now moving forward, absolutely there's going to be a team out there that should and probably will give Kirk Cousins a shot.
Well, this is the best year to be Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones. It's a great year to be these guys because you look at the NFL draft, and outside of Fernando Mendoza, who we look at surefire number one pick, going to be going number one overall, in a quarterback class coming into this college football season where we thought, hey, this was going to be a bunch of quarterbacks. Arch Manning is not, at least right now, what he was all made up to be. I think Dante Moore needs another year in college. I think Ty Simpson from Alabama needs another year in college. Outside of Mendoza, I don't see a day one starter in the draft next year. So if you're these veteran quarterbacks, aka your Kyler Murrays, who maybe Arizona's looking to move on, Mac Jones, certainly Purdy's the guy there in San Francisco, and then Kirk Cousins, like they put all their chips in the Michael Penix basket. They're not going to go back to Kirk Cousins. So one of these guys, like if you're a Pittsburgh, maybe if Rodgers retires, or if you're some of these teams, like I could see it being a really good year to be a backup quarterback now, because I think we'll get some looks next year to be a starting quarterback.
Funny you say Brock Purdy's the guy in San Francisco. Did you see the rumors circulating earlier today?
No. That
the Niners might gear up to send Purdy and 2 first-round picks to Cincinnati for Joe Burrow this offseason?
That's a real rumor.
I don't know if it was substantiated by anybody, but it's making the rounds.
Like, there's no way I would do that if I was the Bengals.
2 first-round picks?
Well, first off, I don't want Brock Purdy as my quarterback. That's not even me taking a shot.
Like, right, but it's Joe Burrow who's making the stink in Cincinnati. So if he is opting out, or not opting out, but forcing a trade out,
I don't want I don't want Brock Purdy back. I want 5 first-round picks. I don't want Purdy back.
Why would not bad? Purdy's been to a Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we all know. Look what happens when you're in the Kyle Shanahan system. Mac Jones looks like a damn Hall of Famer, and he couldn't throw a football in New England. Like it's a product of the system. We've been trying to tell you this for years. You just don't understand it.
Talk your stuff. 6 and 7.
Packers in Denver on
6-7.
Stop.
The Chiefs are 6-7.
Now you're trying to be young again by saying 6-7. Packers in Denver on Sunday. Who has more to prove in this game, though? Bo Nix or Jordan Love?
Jordan Love.
Really?
Bo Nix has the 11-2 record. Bo Nix has done it so far this year. Jordan Love's still fighting for a playoff spot. This is Jordan Love without a doubt.
So if you were starting a team, you would take Bo Nix right now over Jordan Love.
No, I'm saying in this game, this exact game, that's what you're asking. The Broncos have already proven what they are this year. They're 11-2.
Yeah,
once they're in the playoffs, they are winning the AFC West. The Green Bay Packers are fighting for their lives. So in this game, Jordan Love absolutely has more to prove.
I think it's Bo Nix. I think both quarterbacks are talented. I think Jordan Love is a higher upside. Jordan Love has the ability to be a potential top 10, top 5 quarterback in this league. My thing with Bo Nix is this. The Denver Broncos are an elite football team, but I think if you get down the list of reasons why the Broncos are winning, I wouldn't put Bo Nix, like the defense is unbelievable. they've had a really good run game with J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey, the rookie running back. Like, I think you look, Bo Nix has been good. I give him a lot of credit. He's been a lot better than he was in his first year. You see the kind of progress. He's not rushing up in the pocket like he used to.
He's made huge plays in fourth quarters all season long.
Yes. But let's look at the Raider game. They knocked Geno Smith out of that. They probably should have lost the Commander game. The Giants game, they had to come back down, 20 in that game in the fourth quarter? I just feel like it's going to catch up to him at some point. So I'm going to go, I want to see, if I'm a Bronco fan, if they win this game against Green Bay and Bo Nix plays well, then you go into the playoffs going, wow, we have a quarterback that we know can flat out ball. It's hard for me to like pick Denver multiple rounds when the team is stacked. But I feel like if you look in the AFC playoff field, I would take almost every quarterback currently in it over Bo Nix in a game if I was starting. So I think Bo Nix has much more to prove. Jordan Love already got a big win last week over the Bears, and he played really well in that game, had 3 bomb touchdowns, and the protection's been great. Bo Nix needs to show, because like that Washington game, he threw like a pick right to Bobby Wagner. Like, I think they're winning in spite of Bo Nix, in my opinion.
I get what you're saying. I just think with this season in context and this game in context, it's got to be Jordan Love. The Packers still need to win some big games here down the stretch.
Lions, staying in the NFC, Lions-Rams on Sunday, really fun game. If the Lions get in, which is a major question mark because currently they're right on the cut line, if the Lions get in, are they the biggest threat to the Rams in the NFC?
They're certainly the most talented threat. I think this game is massive because not only is it a huge game to determine where the Lions end up, but this could also be a potential NFC championship game if things all fall the way that I think they might. So I'm looking at this like the Lions probably in the NFC right now have the best roster and the most explosive roster, especially offensively, with a defense that's only getting a little bit healthier as we come down the stretch here. But the Rams have been that team all year who are very comfortable sitting at the top right now. This is a huge game because this is going to tell you a lot about how the NFC postseason is going to go. And if we're talking the pressure situation, obviously all of it's on the Lions right now because they are on the outside looking in, which is a crazy spot for them to be in a spot that I would not have considered them to be even close to at the beginning of this season. So, yeah, I do still think, even as it stands right now, the Lions are the biggest threat to the Rams in the NFC, and that's crazy for a team that might not make the postseason.
I would agree with the Lions being the biggest threat, and it's not a shot to other teams. Like, the Seahawks deserve a stake in this. I know they lost 21-19. Darnold throws 4 interceptions, and they still almost win the game. They had a shot to win it on a late field goal, so the Seahawks deserve a lot of credit. The Seahawks and the Bears, though, they're both really young teams that I think you feel like could gain the experience of being in the playoffs and be lethal next year. The Packers are very complete. I think you still have concerns about if they have a number one option. They looked really good last week in terms of the receiver spot, but I don't feel like they have a number one guy. The Lions are that team that has probably the best blend of the NFC have been there before, have been perennially in the playoffs last few years, have a veteran quarterback who's been to a Super Bowl to possibly take down Stafford and the Rams, and have the amount of weapons offensively as well as a star pass rusher. I would go with them, but the NFC is a lot like the AFC. Like the AFC is all young. No one's really done it before. The NFC, you kind of thought it was going to be Philly in the Rams, but Philly looks like they're falling apart, and the Lions might even make it. So I would probably go Lions right now, but the Seahawks definitely deserve some say in that.
All right, we got some awesome text rolling in, YouTube comments as well. Keep those coming. You can watch the show on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. We'd love to hear from you there. We got our power rankings coming up at 12:30. Steve Hartman at 1:30. A loaded up Friday show, and it's just getting started. Awesome text about the Michigan football situation. We'll read on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2:00 today. John and Jim will take over then. For the first time in a long time, we got no local play-by-play coming up this weekend. San Diego State basketball with the weekend off. They're back next Wednesday. San Diego State football, their bowl game's on the 27th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we got a couple weeks here where things settle down, and then bam, next weekend. Number 1 Arizona, number 1 in the country against San Diego State.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big game for the boys. They got to they gotta win the game. Like if they let's say obviously you can get in winning Mountain West, but this game, because of how they played in the Players era, now they're playing better. It was nice how they played against Lamar, but that is we cannot downplay that matchup. That's a big game for the Aztecs.
The beauty of that game against Arizona is it's like, those old like number 2 pencils you would have in school, and they had the eraser on the top. But every once in a while, like when the book fair would come and you get that super eraser that you could put on top.
The book fair, dude.
Arizona is the super eraser. You could just take that thing to your entire schedule so far and say, who cares? We beat the number 1 team in the nation.
And it's nice that they get that opportunity. Like you'd rather have that than you're like, damn, we can't build our resume because some of the teams are playing. It's a golden opportunity, and I'm sure they'll be ready to go.
It's like that win they got over Houston last year, who finished in the top 5 in the country last year. So it's the same thing. All right, text line 858 says Kyle Pitts scored 7% of his career fantasy points last night. That's hilarious.
7% of his career fantasy points.
Is that true? Is that factual?
I'm gonna go with it. I haven't heard that stat, but we're gonna go with it. It's probably right. I mean,
he's had some big games, none as big as that, but that was insane what he was able to do last night. 619, or actually, let's go from the 760 first. Phillip Rivers parlay, just for old time's sakes. Sammy,
there will be something related to Phillip Rivers.
Michael Pittman under receiving yards.
Stay tuned at 12:45, and we will.
I swear to God, Sammy, if you put Phillip Rivers more than 1 interception on your parlay.
No, I'm pulling for Rivers, but listen, we're also trying to make money, so I'm not going to lie to everyone and tell you that I think he's going to have a good game on Sunday against one of the most ferocious defenses and pass rushes in the NFL in the Seattle Seahawks.
It is crazy. I went and looked last night. They're number 1 in defensive line pressures, like number 2 or 3 on quarterback hits. They are.
It is not a game. You wish it was a little bit easier of a test for this first debut back.
Yeah. Did you see Phillip and Madden, by the way? They kind of did him dirty.
Yeah, like come on, man. Like,
come on. If you haven't seen the video yet, you should check it out. It's circulating social media right now. But Phillip Rivers, the guys over at Madden, got him into the game almost immediately. They took some liberties with how he looked in his first day at the Colts practice.
And it was a little foul. It was like, guys, come on.
Like, they made him so ridiculously slow and probably added 30 pounds to what was an already 30 pounds added Phillip Rivers. It's kind of crazy on Madden. All right, 619. Let's settle down on this one for a second. He says, how would you like to be the next group of coaches who are interviewing for the Michigan job? Would probably feel more like your parents interrogating you over your social media and dating activity versus a football coach interview. Love the show, from Brian. Brian, great text, and honestly a great point. Like, you think about the responsibility that the next head coach has at Michigan, because Jim Harbaugh is in the NFL because there was a cheating scandal about to be uncovered.
Yep.
And then the next coach, Sharon Moore, I don't know if you guys have been following the news. It's not getting any better for him. And the court date is today.
He's got 3 charges, like stalking and a home invasion
attempted assault. Yeah, it's bad. All bad for what's going on with Sharon Moore. And we'll see where that story lands, but it's craziness. So the next head coach at Michigan, I almost wonder if they hire like a burn coach, somebody they're bringing in for a couple of years to kind of just settle everything down.
Well, you wonder though, okay, so if that's what they're going to do, I don't think they will, because I think you're going to want to kind of wash this out a little bit.
Man,
how does the power of the Big Ten go? Ohio State is always going to recruit. They're always going to be Ohio State. Indiana has come up. Kurt Cignetti's completely turned the program around. You've had Oregon, who's in the college football playoff, number 5 seed. We all know about the Nike money, Dan Lanning. A lot of guys want to play there. And SC just had the number 1 recruiting class in the country. Lincoln Riley's first since 2007 or 2009. It hasn't been an SEC school. So if you're Michigan, look at Michigan and Penn State. Penn State had one of the worst recruiting classes it's had in 30 years because they didn't hire Matt Campbell till after the National Signing Day. You have now Michigan, who's going to have recruits fleeing to go elsewhere, whether it's the SEC or other spots in the Big Ten. If you're Michigan, like, take SC for a second. SC was a powerhouse. Then all of a sudden they gave us sanctions. It took over a decade for them to even get back to somewhat relevancy because of what it did. Now in the NIL, there's difference. Michigan's got a lot of boosters and a lot of money, so maybe they can flip it quick.
Yeah, Michigan's basketball program is paying their guys like 14 mil this year.
Well, that's what
That's nothing compared to football.
If I'm Michigan, I am throwing so much money at a Brian Daboll, at someone like that, so you can get rid of this kind of mess. Because if you hire if you hire a guy who's like, who is this? If you think that they're going to be able to recruit over Ohio State, who has just as much money, or an Oregon, like, you're going to see Michigan go through a downturn here for years.
You think the Michigan job's better than the LSU job was?
No, LSU is that's a good question.
I mean, think about recently, LSU had that one amazing year with Joe Burrow and the best wide receiving core ever constituted and Coach
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, yeah.
But over the last decade, Michigan's been the better program.
The reason I'm going to go LSU is because of the report that came out. You hire Lane Kiffin, you buy him out. The reports are that they're willing to spend up to $25 to $30 million per year on their roster.
Right, but Michigan just spent $11 million on a quarterback. Michigan, I think, has that money.
The reason I would go with LSU is because although maybe the bottom of the SEC is better than the bottom of the Big Ten, people have the stigma that the SEC is so much more dominant than everyone. In the last few years, they haven't been.
Right.
The top of the Big Ten, I think, is way better than the top of the SEC. You look at Kalen DeBoer in Alabama; they barely squeak in there. We'll see how they do. Texas has not went to the level that we all thought they were going to be. So LSU, Lane Kiffin, offensive guru. I think he's going to hit the ground running fast. But Michigan, yeah. If you are a Michigan fan, I'm sorry, man. Like I don't know where you go today after those news.
What's crazy? Do you see all the quotes and stuff from Sharon Moore? This is mind-blowing how bad this story is. You can go check it out if you want to read it. I don't really want to talk about it anymore, but mind-blowing what happened with the Michigan head coach. Looks like something out of a bad movie.
It does feel like think about the Michigan program a month ago. They were fighting to beat Ohio State, seriously, possibly get into the college football playoff, and they lose that game, and now they're out of a head coach because of some serious charges. And
this all happened right after he got fired.
Yes, and again, signing day is passed. So it's not like you're going to get Brian Daboll and you're just going to get a bunch of recruits immediately. It is a tough day. This is college football.
All right. NFL power rankings next. We'll go to the pros, huh? San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is furnished by Genuine. Big news out of the NBA. Spurs center Victor Wembanyama is likely to return for Saturday's NBA Cup game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He has missed the last month of the season after suffering a calf strain November 14th against the Golden State Warriors. Thursday Night Football was a good one last night. Atlanta goes on the road in Tampa Bay, wins 29-28. Todd Bowles sounds off on the team after. The support is furnished by Genuine.
San Diego Sports 760, busy one here on a Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. This has been a week, man, but welcome to the end of it. It's San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. If it's your first time joining us, welcome in. Kick your shoes off, stay a while. We got YouTube fired up at San Diego Sports 760 on X. You can watch us at Fletch and Sammy. And of course, the text line is always up and running. Text the word team to 70470. Start your message with the word team, and you can interact with the show that way. We're always streaming on the free iHeartRadio app. Just add us to your presets. Hit that little plus icon when you're listening to San Diego Sports 760. Make us your number one preset. Helps us out a lot with the bosses. All right, every week, Sammy and I do our own power rankings. We look at ESPN's and CBS's and Fox's and whoever else, millions of people put out power rankings on the internet, but we give you ours, which are unbiased and true and realistic for the NFL season. Now, usually we do this on Wednesdays, but I don't know about you, Sammy. Neither of the two teams who played last night were in my top five.
No.
Falcons, Bucks, good game. Neither of them got real close to cracking the top five. We had other stuff going on this week.
We had to make some money for the kids, so now we will be giving our power rankings.
We saved our power rankings for Friday. Sammy, if you will, do we have some NFL horns we can... Oh, yes. We didn't talk about that during the commercial break. I'm glad you had those ready to go.
Oh, come on now. We got to have our horns.
I love the royalty-free NFL horns.
Royalty-free.
All right, Sammy, you want to kick us off with your number 5 team?
Okay, I'm going to go number 5. I am going to go with the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Now, the Green Bay Packers, early in the season, I had a lot of doubts because everyone got very high on them. They beat the Lions week 1. They beat Washington, who we've seen has kind of bottomed out. Now, a lot of that is due to injuries. It was a good win, especially coming off what Washington was able to do last year. I thought it was a gritty win against the Bears. I actually give the Bears a lot of credit for that game, for actually showing up. They should have won that game at home in terms of Green Bay, but I like what I saw from Jordan Love. He had some really deep shots against that Bears secondary. The Bears defense was blitzing heavy in that game. In the offensive line, watching it, it felt like Jordan Love had just all day to throw. And the protection was fantastic. Christian Watson being back has helped this team. It's been my number one concern is, do they have our number one receiver? Watson has been playing good ball. The return of Jaden Reed has been nice. And the defensive pass rush with Micah and company is great. So I put Green Bay at number 5 after their winning in Chicago on Sunday.
So we have multiple teams this year that already are in double-digit wins. And so I took those out of it for my conversation about number 5 because they are all higher up on my list. What I did was I took the 4 9-win teams. You got the Bills, the Packers, the Niners, and the Jags. I believe those are the 4 9-win teams. Maybe the Bears are in there too. I'm not sure if they're already at 9 wins. But those are the 4 teams I took seriously for my number 5 spot. And then I went head-to-head with all of them, and I tried to decide who out of the 9-win teams is most likely to win a Super Bowl. And there was only one name that kept popping up for me. So I believe I had the Niners at 5 last week when we did this. I am putting the Buffalo Bills at number 5 this week. Because I think of the 9-win teams who are there, now the Bills have not looked the best out of those teams by any means, but I do think that the Buffalo Bills, of the 9-win teams, the teams who have gotten there so far, are the most likely to win a Super Bowl because of potential AFC postseason matchups and because of the fact that they do have maybe the best quarterback in the postseason. Buffalo Bills, number 5.
Okay.
You like that rationale?
I do. I actually just left the Bills off. I was debating them for number 5. I just think the Packers win over against the Bears was a little bit more against the Bengals. The Bengals are a feisty team, so I give the Bills a lot of credit for how they won that game. But I do have to take into account the 2 terrible turnovers at the end of the game by Cincinnati, and they couldn't stop anyone. So, but they're right outside. I think
Packers would have been my 6. Niners would have been my 7 for those who are curious.
I thought I was considering your Niners as well. Number 4, I'm going with the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos keep winning games, so I have to give them credit. Like they are winning games. That's all you got to do in the National Football League because it's not college football where you got to win by a certain amount. And I do think that they are finding ways to win because they're a gritty team. They're a very deep team. They're a well-coached team. We haven't seen this team since Sean Payton. I mean, dealing with Nathaniel Hackett. And I know Vance Joseph is a good coordinator now. But this team, shot itself in the foot for years with bad head coaching. Now Sean Payton's there. They're getting it done. I have concerns about Bo Nix. Be frank about that. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player right now. He's made improvements this year. Again, walking on thin ice here. Commanders were one play away from losing that one. The Raiders were actually hanging in tough in that game until Geno Smith got knocked out in the third quarter. So they're winning ball games. I'm excited for this matchup against the Packers. They're my number 4 and 5 teams. I'm giving them the edge because they have the better record. We went back to the first segment. Bo Nix, Jordan Love. Who's going to play better in this one? Overall, Denver Broncos winning games, number 4 on my list.
What's kind of crazy about my 4 through 1 is I only think one of those teams in my 4 through 1 can actually win a Super Bowl.
That's what's interesting.
What's interesting about where the NFL season has gone so far. My number 4 is also the Denver Broncos. And I'll be very frank. The only reason why they're in this list at all is because of their record. Because they're 11-2 this year. They have to be in any sort of top 5 that you put together. But I've never sat down to watch a Broncos game and for the first 3 quarters been like, oh my God, this is an 11-2 football team. In the fourth quarter, they've looked like it plenty of times. And that's great for the regular season. It ain't going to work in the playoffs. So for the Denver Broncos, yes, they have to be on the list, but they are sitting about as low as possible. In fact, if I was being completely honest, I would have the Bills above the Broncos, but I feel like they have to be.
If they played in the playoffs right now, I would pick Buffalo. I think
most people would.
The Broncos deserve credit. I just look at what happened last night. I think they're a much better team than Tampa Bay. So I want to make that very clear. Tampa Bay winning a lot of close games earlier in the year. A lot of comebacks. A lot of this is great. Baker coming from behind. And now you're seeing it turn the other way. I could see that happen at Denver very early in the playoffs with how they're relying on late game comebacks to win this thing.
Our 3-2-1 may be identical.
Okay, well, I'm going to go number 3, New England.
They're not identical.
Okay, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. New England, fantastic. I think Drake May has certainly established himself as, I mean, you can make an argument. So if Lamar, Mahomes, and Burrow are out of the playoff field, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the AFC. I'd take Herbert, then Drake May. I guess you could make an argument with that. I think Herbert, with what he's had to deal with his offensive line, deserves a lot of credit. But I'm going to go Drake May and the Patriots. Now, my only concern with them the last couple of weeks, look at who they beat. The Jets, the Bengals, no Joe Burrow in that game. The Giants on Monday night. Giants had no one. Dart fought well in that game. They had no neighbors, no Scatabo. They have their 2 biggest wins of the year came against Buffalo early on, and then Tampa Bay when Baker and them were kind of on a heater. So there's a little bit concern about the level of competition they have beaten up to this point. That's all going to get changed because they're playing Buffalo again this weekend. If they beat Buffalo again, really take a stranglehold on the division, they deserve all the props in the world. I'm putting them at number 3 right now in the NFL.
Patriots are actually my number 2 team. So my number 3 is the Seattle Seahawks, who I'm assuming is your number 2. And I'll tell you the reason why I differentiate between these 2 teams. This is probably the one I thought the most about. And the reason the Patriots have gotten the upper edge on the Seattle Seahawks is because I think the Patriots are going to have an easier path in the postseason. Because the Patriots, who are currently
I agree with that,
the number 2 team in the AFC, are going to be probably facing in the first round the Texans, Colts, or Ravens. Now, the Ravens could be a problem for them, but if it's the Texans or the Colts, Patriots are absolutely favored in that one. The
Texans could be interesting.
Yeah, they'd be interesting for sure because of that defense, but I do at this point trust Drake May a hell of a lot more than I trust CJ Stroud. Now, you look at what the Seahawks are going to have to do, and in the NFC, which is ridiculously crowded right now, it could be the Bucs that they're playing in the first round. It could be the Panthers, who I'd feel better about the Seahawks against, but you think about the rest of them, Eagles, Packers, maybe the Rams, like depending on who the Seahawks draw in the first round.
They're going to have to go on the road.
Exactly, and it's going to be an early exit.
So I'm with that. Back to your point about my number 2 is Seattle Seahawks.
And our number 1 is the Rams.
The Seahawks, here's why I edged the Seahawks out over the Patriots. The Seahawks, I was looking back you look at these games. They skunked the Vikings 26-0. Now, Brosmer was playing in that game at quarterback. They beat the Falcons after having a little bit of that game early. It was up in the air, 37-9.
The Seahawks have not been in very many close games. They've been beating the doors off of people.
Remember, they beat the Texans on earlier in the year. They beat the Jaguars. And we go back to that Rams game. Like, the more you go back and watch that, and I'm very excited. Next Thursday Night Football, we have a great game with the Rams and Seahawks.
By the way, potentially the final Sunday night of the season is going to be Seahawks-Niners.
Right, which would be a great game, possibly for a playoff spot. We'll see if they get back in the division. But Darnold throws 4 interceptions in that game. 4 interceptions against, in my opinion, the most complete team in the NFL in the Los Angeles Rams. And they have a shot to go win it at the end of the game with a late field goal on the road. So this defense is only getting better. They blitz at one of the highest rates in the league. Mike McDonald coming over from the Ravens, really good. Darnold keeps deserving credit. I mean, people don't want to give Darnold credit. All this guy does is go out there and win football games. You take that game out, you really do look at like Sam Darnold in the MVP conversation. He was right there until that game. So Seahawks deserve a lot of credit. They, like you, Rams are number one. They're
better than everyone right now. It's their Super Bowl to lose as of right now.
They have the best blend of young talent on defense, young talent on offense, with also the veteran quarterback Stafford, veteran connection with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Kyron Williams is running really well. Great coaching. They are the most complete team in the NFL right now, and I'm with you. I think there's a gap between the Rams and a lot of teams.
Picture this. Devontae Adams looks better right now than most of his years with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, think about it. He's the number 2 receiver.
He's at the end of his career, but what Devontae Adams does so well matches up with what Matthew Stafford does so well, which are those little quick hitter routes around in the red zone.
I think also something you said though about how your top 5, you had what, 1 or 2 teams that could win the Super Bowl?
2 teams in my top 5.
What was that? Buffalo and the Rams?
Buffalo and the Rams.
Okay, that's what makes this NFL like doing power rankings tough. Because in years past, it's like, all right, the Chiefs, Bills,
we got some frauds in the NFL this year.
Like, someone's going to make a name for themselves and going to create a possible new powerhouse, whether the AFC or the NFC.
I'm here for it, by the way. I'm here for a team that we did not think about coming into the season winning the Super Bowl this year. I think that's great for the game. I really do. You look at baseball, it gets boring when it's the same 3 or 4 teams who are at the end every single year. Basketball, same thing. We're looking at a decade potentially of OKC running this thing. So I think this is great for football, and that we're going to see some new blood in the postseason and potentially in the Super Bowl. I'm excited for it. By the way, I've never been a bigger Phillip Rivers fan than I am this weekend if he takes the field against the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm rooting for the guy.
I
just am concerned.
Collectively, as a human race.
Can you imagine if Phillip Rivers beat the Chargers in the postseason?
I would love it so much. That would be...
What if they show Dean in the box after that one?
Chef's kiss. All right, break here. Long shots on the other side. Sammy has said there's a Phillip Rivers related entry in his long shots today. Can't wait to see what that is. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Quote from Sammy Long, I'm cooking right now, bro.
I'm cooking, bro.
I'm cooking, dog. That was Sammy behind the glass during this past commercial break as he's designing up his long shots for you. Again, if it's your first time joining the show, my name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We are degenerate gamblers. We like to be the safe haven for all of you out there.
If you've ever been told that, hey, you need to stop gambling, or, oh, your gambling's messing up Thanksgiving dinner because your parlay didn't hit, you're welcome here.
Here, while we get this going, Sammy, can I read you a text my sister sent to me last night about her middle child? His name is Dan.
Dan
the man.
How old is Dan?
Dan, he's young. He's less than 7. I don't know exactly.
Oh, okay, so he's a little kid.
Yeah. She said Dan probably has the worst personality for video games. We were talking about whether or not they should let their kids play video games.
Okay.
And she said, and also gambling. Unreasonably competitive, slightly addictive, and a real detachment from reality. And I just said, I've never been more proud of my nephew, Dan.
So he's a competitor. He wants to win in life. Like, is that a bad thing?
My sister was saying it like it was a bad thing. I was like, Natalie, you're raising him right. In fact, if he wants to come live with Uncle Ben for a while, we're going to take Vegas down. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, listen, do you want to raise someone who is just going to sit there and not gamble and not have that competitive drive and spirit to be the best at everything? Everywhere, inner salesman in him.
YouTube popping off right now. Rich saying at least Tyler's Alvarado pick from yesterday came through on long shots.
Yes.
That was a nice pick from Tyler. I will say Sammy had maybe the greatest 1-for-4 prize picks I've ever seen.
So
he was off by a collective 4 points.
Shangoon got one too many points. James Harden, we needed one more bucket before he went to do his nighttime activities in Houston, which we all know he's a big fan of. And Darnell Mooney had a couple drops. Darnell,
he was 1 yard away.
1 yard away. So if there's ever a good 1-for-4, I don't feel too ashamed of it, but I am disappointed that our guys didn't come through.
Well, you did say you're cooking right now. So Sammy, why don't we go ahead and smash it?
I got to pull up the sounder real quick.
Oh my God. I give you all the credit in the world earlier in the show for when you didn't know what's coming.
Looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With Long Shots. Long Shots is presented by Circa Million and Circa Survivor.
Listen, we can give Circa some love, okay?
It's the wrong one.
Listen, it's been a long week,
so
okay?
We give you all the credit in the world for having the NFL horns royalty-free ready to go. And then the one that we've literally used every day since this show started. At the same time every day.
I was so amazed because we had some music issues earlier this week, and a shout out to Ron Fu, our engineering, for getting it figured out. So I was very struck with that, and I forgot to get the right sounder.
All right, Sammy, let's let it rip here.
Lori, though, on YouTube says would love to see Phillip Rivers beat the Chargers.
We all do.
We all do, Lori.
It'd be awesome. I just don't want him to beat the Niners in a couple weeks.
Okay, 4-leg parlay today. We're gonna start with Jamar Chase, more than 91.5 receiving yards. We got into this a little bit on the show yesterday. Joe Burrow, I don't know if you guys saw the press conference the other day, like some really alarming stuff. And this story would probably be bigger if you didn't have the Sharon Moore, Phillip Rivers come out of retirement. A lot of crazy stuff happening in the last few days in the NFL. You got a positivity bunny that got put up by the Eagles and then taken down. Joe Burrow, though, if you go watch that press conference talking about his love of the game, if he's going to keep doing this, is he going to find his joy? Jamar Chase was then asked about this, was like, wait, what? He sounded like, I mean, they're best friends. Remember, they played at LSU together. Jamar Chase, more than 91.5 receiving yards. Baltimore secondary has been down all year. I think this is a high-scoring game. Joe Burrow and the Bengals looked really good against the Bills last week. The only problem, they had the pick right to Benford that led to the pick 6, and then Joe Burrow threw one that got popped right up in the air. No T. Higgins in this one, forcing targets to Jamar Chase. He's too good not to get this. Jamar Chase is going to find his love back for the game for Joe Burrow. New England Buffalo, Josh Allen, more than 35.5 rush yards. We see in big games, Josh Allen puts the Superman cape on and gets after it. I think this is going to be a really highly competitive game. I do think Buffalo actually wins this one on the road. I think it means more to them. Even if the New England loses this game, I still think they can win the division down the stretch because of the schedule that they are playing. But I think Josh Allen knows how important this one is to him. The defense is not very good. They're very turnover reliant. They were ate up by the Bengals last week. But Josh Allen, James Cook have been playing excellent football recently. He has hit the over on rush yards in each of the last 2 weeks. Again, big game against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. All of a sudden, he has 78 rush yards, more than 35.5 against New England.
I'm sorry. Can we all see this?
Oh no.
Can we all see this?
Oh no. All right. Well, I'm not getting into that. Okay. Jonathan Taylor. This is our Phillip Rivers adjacent pick.
Right. But this is funny, Sammy. Prize Picks put Joe Biden as Phillip Rivers' avatar.
I'm not getting into politics right now. They go tune on Kogo. You hear all about that. Jonathan Taylor,
Just saying he's old, Sammy.
More than 20 and a half rush attempts against the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, we're all pulling for Rivers. I want to see him do well. I hope we come on Monday and we're talking about Phillip Rivers has the game of his life, goes in and beats the Seattle Seahawks, and we have a great radio show for next week on Monday. I don't think that's going to happen. Phillip Rivers is a guy who's been sitting on the couch for 4 to 5 years. I don't care that he's been running the Shane Steichen offense. This is not something you just come off the couch and do. He is a statue quarterback. Statue quarterbacks historically the last few years have really struggled in the league. I don't see Rivers just being able to come off the mat and do this. Shane Steichen, the offense, going to be running more than 20 and a half rush attempts against that Seattle defense, trying to slow down those blitz packages Seattle likes to run. In my last pick, Fletch is going to hate this, but it's going to hit. Shedeur Sanders, more than 181 and a half pass yards against the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are a damn good football team. If you watch that game against the Packers last week, we know over the season they are one of the best defenses in terms of turnover differential. That's what they rely on. And the Packers showed they hit them on 3 bombs for touchdowns. You can really attack this team deep. Shedeur Sanders, I know the Titans are a different beast, but he does throw the deep ball really well. He's had some command of the offense. I think Shedeur Sanders, more than 181 and a half passing yards. I also think they're losing to the Bears for a large portion of this game, so you could possibly backdoor cover this if he only has 70 yards at halftime. So to recap, Shedeur Sanders, more than 181 and a half pass yards. Josh Allen, more than 35 and a half rush yards. Jamar Chase, more than 91 and a half receiving yards. And Jonathan Taylor, more than 20 and a half rush attempts.
What was the Shedeur pick? I was talking to our sales guy. I missed that.
More than 181 and a half pass yards for Shedeur Sanders. I think he's playing from behind in this game, and the Bears are showing a weakness in the secondary for big plays.
Okay, I dig it. Sammy, good work. It's 12:58. We're way late. Steve Hartman coming up in hour number 2. Tons of YouTube comments, including calling some shots about Phillip Rivers this weekend. We'll get to him on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Taco Bell. Thursday Night Football, Falcons, Kirk Cousins lead an upset going into Tampa Bay, winning 29-28. And per Shams, Victor Wembanyama is likely to return Saturday versus the Thunder in the NBA Cup in Las Vegas. He's missed the last 12 games. He's currently averaging 26 points per game and about 13 rebounds per game for the upstart San Antonio Spurs. Taco Bell's Lux Cravings boxes give you decadent options. $5 gets you fan favorites, $7 gets you the fancy stuff, and $9 sends you on a journey of flavor exploration. Get yours participating in stores for a limited time. Prices and participation may vary. Drinks includes freezes, tax extra.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone. Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Into the Fletch Zone.
Not like other guys.
Sound off like you got a pair.
The South still up for grabs.
Snap spot, kick by Gonzalez. It is good. Fly home safely. Atlanta wins.
Another NFL week is underway. Will the Padres pull the trigger on a move before the team's possibly sold? The mess in Michigan just grows.
He felt like people had it in for him for an awful long time there while he was at Michigan. He felt like there were people who were out to get him.
You're not serious, are you?
And those picks.
Darnell Mooney, wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, more than 36.5 receiving yards.
Oh, no!
Rashad White, running back for the Bucs, more than 18.5 rush yards.
You're smart, motherfucker. That's right.
James Harden, more than 23.5 points.
We suck again!
Shangoon, less than 21.5 with Zubox shutting him down.
Guess we'll find other resources. Kicking off the weekend from the San Diego Sports 760 studios inside the Fletch Zone.
You can't tell Big Voice Guy also follows long shots on a daily basis.
CJ told me over the weekend, he said, hey, I love the show, you and Fletch, but then picks be rough sometimes.
Them picks do be rough sometimes. But today, I got a good feeling about what you got going, Sammy. So we'll see if it works out. All right, it's hour number 2 here. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then. A good weekend coming up here on San Diego Sports 760. And if you want, check us out on YouTube. We got candy cane frames going right now. It's the festive season.
It's the holiday season, guys.
I like it. Maybe we'll play some Mariah Carey coming back from a break this hour. And really,
is that your go-to Christmas song? All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Nah, I like the old school stuff, man. The Carpenters is a little better. I honestly don't love Christmas music. I think it's kind of lame, but
I like Christmas music is great for like 2 weeks, and then you're like, okay, we're tired of hearing this every time I walk into a department store. All I want for.
I liked Christmas music a lot more before I married my wife, who starts playing Christmas music the second it switches over to November.
Is she one of those people who then it's like you can't if you're driving around, you can't listen to normal music in the
correct. Car? Absolutely right.
Okay.
Now, Travis Dale, who I work with over on 101.5 KGB, TD, he listens to Christmas music year round. He's that type of guy.
See, I don't like that.
It's either like Fergie, her slow songs, Christmas music, or
Sweetie.
Yeah, like TD's he's got the weirdest music palette you would ever, and he hates Beyonce for some reason. Can't stand her music.
What did the Beehive? Don't let the Beehive hear that.
No, we put out a TikTok one time, and the Beehive came after him on big ways. He got attacked ruthlessly.
Damn, TD.
I know he likes to poke the bear.
Shout out to Queen Bee.
I love Beyonce. I think she has some great songs.
I mean, what's wrong? What did Beyonce ever do?
One of the most successful live performers of all time. She's got a voice of an angel. She was incredible in Austin Powers Goldmember.
If you're a Beyonce fan, you're welcome here on Fletch and Sammy.
Just kick TD right in the balls. That's what I always say. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. We got some great matchups coming up this weekend in the NFL. I don't know if everyone's taking a look, but that Bills-Patriots game, talk about one of the biggest games of the NFL season. Lions-Rams, a potential NFC Championship game preview if everything falls a certain way for the Lions especially. But things are getting crazy here at the NFL season. And, of course, we have the 6-7 Kansas City Chiefs who are probably out. But who knows, Sammy? Like we said yesterday, if the Chiefs go undefeated, Chargers lose all the rest of their games, they could be back in. And then Sammy's going to say something like, don't let us get back into the postseason, man. Don't let us.
If I was the AFC, I wouldn't let if you are a fan of a team in the AFC, you are a massive Charger fan on Sunday, because I would not want to see the boys in the playoffs, but I think you're going to get your wish.
Nobody else does either. So our buddy John on YouTube says, calling it now, Old Man Rivers is going to shock the league. LFGPR.
Let's go.
That's kind of where I wanted to start this hour. So a lot's been made of it. He's on Madden now, and Philip looks fat on Madden. And yes, he was at the press conference, and some dude named Greg asked him, he's like, so what do you weigh now, Phil? And Philip answered it in a very hilarious way, like only Philip Rivers can, with a simple, I don't know, but more than I weighed last time I was on the field. So yeah, you can make whatever you want to make about it. Here's what we know. Phillip Rivers is one of the smartest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Phillip Rivers and Shane Steichen go back all the way to San Diego. That's how long these two have known each other. And I don't think Phillip Rivers would have said yes to this opportunity if he felt like he couldn't do something about it. The Colts are a team who are just outside of the playoffs looking in. They're going to need a really great 4 weeks, but that's something they're capable of. The roster around him in Indianapolis actually has been one of the more healthy teams all season long, in spite of the last few weeks with Sauce Gardner going down and their quarterback Daniel Jones going down. But outside of that, offensive line mostly healthy, running back healthy, wide receiving core healthy, one of the brightest looking young tight ends we've had in a long time in Warren. So you look at this team, there is something there where I could see Phillip Rivers sliding in and actually having some success.
I get it from...
Not to mention all of San Diego is Colts fans this week.
Well, yeah. This is my thing. I get it from a Colts perspective. If you're the Colts, you're going, we just traded our next 2 years first round picks for Sauce Gardner. So it's not like there's not really an incentive to be losing out, and obviously they're still in the playoff picture. But where, like, let's say they still had their first round pick next year, and you're going, wow, the Colts actually have a really good roster. Okay, let's see. Maybe Riley Leonard is something. Maybe he isn't. And if he isn't, then guess what? We're gonna get a much better pick, and the Colts are gonna be a team next year that people are really gonna be looking out for. I get it. It's worth a shot in the dark. You looked at the free agent market, and there wasn't really a guy out there that you could really sit there and say, hey, we can have any success in the postseason. Phillip Rivers. Now, I really think that 5 years sitting on the couch, people are not seeing this enough. And I'm pulling for Phillip Rivers. I would love to see him light it up with over 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns and go crazy on Sunday. I just think people think on a 4 days rest, literally getting to Indy on Tuesday, Wednesday, starting against one of the youngest, fastest defenses in the entire NFL, against one of the most blitz-happy defenses in Mike McDonald. I do not think this is a recipe for success. I could see Phillip in a week or two having a game where he looks like, okay, that's nice. He looks like a good quarterback. The one thing that works for him is that he is not a running quarterback. So you see guys who
like he was running away from people when he was playing.
Right. So you're not, it's not like let's say Lamar was old and he couldn't run. You're like, okay, maybe after his first.
It would literally be Cam Newton. Somebody who said he was pissed off that Phillip Rivers got signed over him.
Yeah.
Like it would be Cam Newton coming back right now. So much of Cam Newton's game relies on his physicality and being able to run.
It is funny that Cam was.
It's so weird.
Well,
I mean, I get it to a certain extent,
but it's like Cam. Well, my response to Cam would be, do you want to go play in the NFL again? Because you got a job in ESPN right now.
Right.
Like, is that, I mean, he knows the play. He knows the system. I think that the chances of this working out being the fairy tale ending is small, but hey, that's why we love sports. That's why we love comeback fights. That's why we love the underdog story. This is the underdog story. The Colts have become a fan favorite, certainly here in San Diego. And I think if your team's out of it across the country, you're like, that would be a cool story to watch Phillip Rivers go through the playoffs and win a few games.
Like, I do want to be realistic, and Sammy, you're doing a very good job of this and kind of stamping expectations a little bit. The chances this goes great for Phillip Rivers and the Colts are slim to none. Like slim to none.
Right.
But there is that part of my brain that he's going to come out and he's just going to be an absolute stud. I think Tyler pointed it out. This kind of feels like the Colts team, the way it's constituted right now, great offensive line, great tight end, great running back, does feel like the days with Hardwick, Gates, and LT. That's the kind of roster he has around him.
I wish 760 is mad at me for Phillip Rivers slander. I'm not slandering Phillip Rivers. There's nothing about, I'm pulling for Phillip Rivers. I want him to do well. I think people are, this is not, people compare it to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco coming off the couch to come play. Joe Flacco had played in a game the year before.
760 is actually asking me to turn your mic off. Yeah. So Sammy, would you not mind just hitting your mic off? That would help.
I'm in the booth, so no. But I am pulling for Phillip Rivers. I don't think people realize how hard it is to play in the NFL and are remembering Phillip Rivers from 10 years ago. I hope it works out.
John on YouTube saying, I'm just excited for all of us over 40 here. I don't have blinders on. Sammy's points are right on. We all want this to work out. Look, the last thing anyone wants to see is Phillip Rivers go out there, get sacked by Leonard Williams on the first play of the game, and for him not to be able to come back in. That's the fear.
I just do not want to see him get hurt. That would be. I know no one does. That would be depressing to see Phillip Rivers try to come back and do it. I get it from the Colts. Maybe he's got a little magic left. He wasn't bad the last year with the Colts. They made the playoffs. We'll see. It's going to be great TV on Sunday.
It's going to be incredible. All right, we're going to do a lightning round big three here, Sammy. So if you would, please smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
All right, lightning round. Let's go. What's first?
Ravens, Bengals playing, Pittsburgh playing on Monday night. Between three head coaches, Zach Taylor, John Harbaugh, and Mike Tomlin, how many are getting fired in the offseason?
Oh, I love this question, actually. 2 out of 3. Tomlin, Taylor.
I am with you. I think Tomlin, Taylor. I think Harbaugh gets one more crack simply because the team was very hurt.
All right, next.
All right, let's go to the NBA. Rich Paul says the Lakers aren't a title threat or even Western Conference Finals team as currently constructed. Do you think it's fair or not?
I mean, just because OKC's in the conference and they're beating everybody by 40, like I get the reasoning from Rich Paul. Is he's trying to force one of his clients probably into a trade to the Lakers.
That's where it's kind of
who's
it's
out there that's one of Rich Paul's that the Lakers could get.
I'm not sure. There's been linked to Herb Jones, Keon Ellis from Sacramento.
This is the same thing he did with Anthony Davis. He's trying to get one of his guys over.
I think what's interesting about this one is LeBron has always talked through Rich Paul. He's always got stuff done to Rich Paul. The Lakers have made it very clear it's Luka's team. They haven't extended LeBron James. I'm curious what ownership, Rob Pelinka, if they're willing to listen to this, or rather would they keep picks for the future knowing that LeBron is not going to be here.
Let me guess. Maverick Carter also quote tweeted it and said, right. Yeah, I agree, Rich. That's a great point.
It's an interesting power dynamic because LeBron has always been the number one on the team and now he's not, but he's still trying to kind of exert that power. I don't disagree with him. I think they could be a Western Conference Finals team. They're not beating Oklahoma City right now. They need defensive help, but we'll see what happens.
All right, who next?
Let's head back to the NFL. So Chargers look to eliminate my Chiefs on Sunday. Are the Chargers not getting enough respect in the AFC? And then a follow-up question, Chargers, Broncos, who do you trust more in the playoffs?
Actually, I trust the Chargers more, believe it or not. Now, the Broncos have given you every reason to trust them more. I just look at the quarterbacks. And the way Justin Herbert played against the Eagles last week was one of the more impressive quarterback performances I've seen all year long. He's doing it in spite of not having an offensive line, in spite of a left hand that's essentially useless at this point. And every single time Justin Herbert gets touched, it looks like he's in pain, but he's still going out there with some ballsy, gutsy runs. Man, it sucks that he's not the quarterback here in San Diego because he is so easy to root for.
I'm kind of with you on the Chargers. I think the roster is certainly better for Denver. I think less pressure on the Chargers going in the postseason because despite Herbert not having a playoff win, the offensive line struggles are a massive thing. And the fact that both tackles got hurt, he's going to have that excuse. If you're Denver, you're going, Bo Nix is supposedly your guy. And you have the one concern about this team is at the quarterback spot. You know Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be back next year. If you can't win it this year or get after it with an AFC West divisional crown, this could be the peak of what you're going to get. With the Chargers, you don't have quarterback concerns to your point. Justin Herbert's a bona fide superstar. And Monday night I was at the game. The only positive plays the Chargers had
Justin Herbert
when he was running immediately outside the pocket because the Philly pass rush was all over him. It's impressive what Herbert's been able to do with this offensive line.
I'd also say defensively for the Chargers, this is the best Derwin James has looked in the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh yeah, Mincer. I mean, the defense. Mincer's going to get a head coaching job.
They're doing a really good job over there, and that feels kind of weird to say, especially on a weekend where Phillip Rivers is coming back. But the Chargers are doing things right now, at least on the football field. All right, quick break here. On the other side, there's 2 matchups in the NFL that I have my blinders on for this weekend. They're awesome games. Can't wait for them. They've been covered up by some big news around the league, but let's get into both of those coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim take over then. Steve Hartman coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll have our weekly chat with Steve. Now, Sammy and I were just talking about it during the commercial break, and we'll get back to those NFL games. The internet is a flutter. There's rumors going on all over the place about baseball and about the San Diego Padres specifically. I saw tweets today that the Padres are listening to offers on Mason Miller and Nick Pivetta. I saw tweets linking Francisco Lindor from the Mets to the Padres. Who knows what's going to happen? I think the most solid thing we have to go off of so far is Kevin Acey's report earlier this week, where he said the Padres are gearing up to doing something monumental, something that would make the Juan Soto, Trent Grisham deal to New York look like small potatoes. So we'll see if that happens. I think Lindor would fit that category. I think Fernando Tatis Jr. leaving San Diego would fit that category. I don't know what exactly it's going to be, but man, I would hesitate. I would really hesitate by moving on from Mason Miller.
I'm curious. You text us 70470.
You move on from Mason Miller, man. I think it's a big mistake.
70470. Start your message with team. Like, I wonder what the city's reaction would be to losing Mason Miller, because I haven't seen
fan favorite immediately.
And it's funny when he made his debut, and it's ironic for a bullpen piece. Like, there was a buzz in the city. We were on air when he got traded to the Padres. Like, it was a kind of monumental feeling day in San Diego.
Massive success with the Padres for the entirety he was here.
Now, Lindor would be a big ad. He's a switch hitter. He's been great for the Mets for years.
He's one of those young rising superstars in Major League Baseball that everyone would consider a top 10, 15 position player in the game.
Listen, you got bullpen pieces coming up the pipeline. You got David Morgan, who I think acquitted himself nice last year. Probably is going to get more expanded roles, but we were talking about it at break. It just feels like, so you lose Robert Suarez. Let's just hypothetically say you traded Mason Miller for Lindor or someone. The problem with this team is, like, the starting pitching staff has to be addressed. Like, this starting pitching rotation, as currently constructed, is nowhere near a playoff team. Nick Pivetta's the one ace. Joe Musgrove, who we're all excited is back. You cannot be expecting to pitch bulk innings as your number 2 starter because he's coming off injury. And Randy Vasquez and Hart, these guys can't be expected to be carrying the team this far. Like, if I'm the Padres, I am looking at a bona fide superstar ace. That is what I am trying to get. Versus trading bullpen arms.
All right, Scooble, come on.
Well, that's something that would be like, the Montemano deal. What do you trade for that?
Look, the Lindor thing, I would also say this. The Padres have superstars on the offensive side of the baseball. Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts at one point in his career are superstars on the offensive side of the baseball. They've kind of been the problem the last few postseason runs. Francisco Lindor is another one of those superstars on the offensive side of the baseball. He's excellent in the field as well.
He's excellent in the postseason as well.
Phenomenal. If you read any reports out of New York, Francisco Lindor is one of the main reasons Pete Alonso didn't want to sign back with the team.
Well, also,
there's some anonymous quotes rolling around New York right now that are bashing Francisco Lindor as a clubhouse guy.
Well, also, if you're the Mets, would you really do that? Like, you're going to
seem like they're in full fire sale mode.
So apparently they wanted Robert Suarez. They tried to get Robert Suarez before he went to the Braves, actually offered him more money than Atlanta did. And he chose to go with Atlanta, obviously coming from San Diego. So I don't know if they would accept that. Like, again, there's the question mark. Now, I think it worked for the Padres because the Padres were trying to go win a World Series. It obviously didn't work out. But there also is the question, do you trade a big time hitter for a guy who, if you're going to keep as the ace, that we know what he's a superstar at, the best closer in baseball, for a guy who might be pitching every couple days? There's a real question mark there for a guy who's playing every single day. Do you make a trade like that? I don't even know if that would be enough to get a guy like Francisco.
Probably
Lindor.
Not. So we'll see. Baseball's off season. This is all fun and games until something actually happens, and nothing's actually happened yet. So we will see. All right, 2 games that are happening this weekend that are massive, monumental games in the NFL calendar of the year. You look at the Buffalo Bills and New England Patriots. That's the first game I kind of want to zero in on here. How big is this for Josh Allen? You look at the NFL playoff picture right now.
Josh Allen.
It's massive for Josh Allen because, first of all, there's something we talked about, like what if the Patriots end up representing the AFC in the Super Bowl instead of Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills? What does that tell you about Josh Allen's future, Josh Allen's legacy as one of the top quarterbacks in football? But this game is a little bit of a microcosm of that, isn't it? Like, the Bills are sitting as the 6th seed right now in the AFC. they're most likely going to be in the postseason. But the Texans and the Colts are kind of right behind them. Both of them one game back of the Bills right now. So you look at what this game means, and the New England Patriots, they're playing with house money already. They could lose this game, probably still win the division. But for the Buffalo Bills, this is the New England Patriots were not supposed to be your problem coming into this year. And now all of a sudden they're a big problem. They've already beat you once this year. This is, they beat them in Buffalo too, right?
And but yeah, this game's in Foxborough. That was that early Sunday night football game where Drake May's kind of coming out party.
Josh Allen's got to come out here and win this game by all means necessary.
Well, if the Bills had the number 1 seed and Mahomes, Lamar, and Burrow were in the postseason, they deservedly would be the odds-on favorite. I believe they're actually the betting favorite out of the AFC still right now. But right now, if you lose this game, it's assuredly so. You're going on the road. You're going to have to win 3 straight road playoff games. And Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the field if all those guys are out. James Cook's unbelievable. If you look at the Bills as a roster, the defense is not very good. They're very turnover reliant. They got destroyed by Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and were very fortunate to get two turnovers late in that game. The Bucs lit them up. The Patriots lit them up. Like a lot of the top offenses in the league, when they have played, have been great against them. The offensive line, you worry about at the receiver spot. Is Shakir back? He's been kind of up and down. They don't really have a number 1 receiver. Dalton Kincaid, a tight end, is basically their number 1. But if you're Josh Allen, like we've got into it, there's not a player with any more pressure than Josh Allen this postseason, because if you can't win it this year, you're expecting Mahomes going to be back next year. Burrow, Lamar, all these guys aren't going away just because they missed the playoffs for one season. This is all eyes are on Josh Allen this one.
And then we have maybe the most star-studded game of the NFL season coming up in Los Angeles, 1:25 this Sunday. It's Rams, it's Lions. I'm pretty sure we're carrying that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. But Jahmyr Gibbs, Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff going up against Matthew Stafford and Puka and Devontae Adams and Verse on the defense. Like, this is one of those games where it's like you have all pro teams on either sides. Now, they've had very different seasons up to this point. The Lions have actually really struggled at times this year, but they're playing good ball right now. Can the Lions go into LA and upset the Rams and kind of shift the narrative about their entire season and the Dan Campbell play calling era as they go into LA this weekend? I would love for the Lions to get a win here, because I think the NFL postseason is better if the Lions are in it. And right now they're on the outside looking in.
Well, and they also, how many more iterations of this team is going to be there?
This might be the last chance.
The Lions have Jared Goff deals coming up. There's a question. I would re-sign Jared Goff.
You have to pay Gibbs.
You have to pay Gibbs. You're paying Amon-Ra. Jameson Williams is coming up. Aiden Hutchinson already got paid. Like this whole, the roster being
Alex Anzalone 1 more year older. How many years does he have left?
Malcolm Rodriguez
hurt
been really good
as it is.
I mean, you got some of the safety play branch. Like the Lions need to go far in the playoffs this year if you're Detroit. And you're mentioning your point about Dan Campbell. There's a lot of question mark. Morton had the 4th ranked offense in the league, the offensive coordinator, before he took over, and then he decided to pull plays from them. And Dan Campbell, I think you give him a C or B grade at best over how he's taken over play calls. So big game for the Lions. And if you're the Rams, it's a big game for you, because you probably don't want to see the Lions in the postseason. They would be a dangerous 7 seed. If you win this game, you could probably knock them out of this thing.
Well, and the Rams look over their shoulder real quick, and the Niners and Seahawks are right on their tail in the division. And how important is it for Matthew Stafford to have home field all the way through the playoffs as well? It's a big deal. All right, so we'll take a break here. Steve Hartman on the other side. We're going to talk some Phillip Rivers with Steve Hartman. I'm sure he has lots of thoughts on this. That's next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Two of the biggest games of the weekend in the NFL. Lions Rams in Los Angeles. That game is at 125 right here on San Diego Sports 760. Rams are currently 6-point favorites in that one, and Bills at New England trying to keep their hopes of winning the AFC East alive. Buffalo's actually a 1.5-point road favorite in that one, despite losing them earlier this year. That game will go in at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find so many holiday essentials, all for under $25. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. Don't wait. Find a location at Macy'sBackstage.com.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim take over then. Busy weekend coming up. How about that Rams-Lions game right here on San Diego Sports 760? Woo, going to be a good one up in LA. Speaking of, Steve Harmtan joins the show every single Friday at this time, 1:30. It's his time slot. Steve, Phillip Rivers is back in the NFL. Your reaction, please.
Is he actually going to play?
Maybe.
Well, that is a big maybe because their former Notre Dame quarterback had a full practice today. I think the story is much to do about nothing, to be honest with you. It's fun to talk about Phillip Rivers, but let's be honest here. Think about the game. If he were to actually start this game this week, so he hasn't been on an NFL field in over 5 years. He would be facing one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL on the road, a team that blitzes more than any other teams in the NFL. Does anyone really think about how that actually would look with Phillip Rivers on the field going against that Seattle defense on the road? Honestly, I think this has been one of the biggest stories about nothing that we will ever have in the history of the NFL.
Well, it's clearly something, Steve. He's there. They signed him for a reason.
Well, they signed him as an emergency situation, but obviously they're going to, if they have a healthy backup quarterback, he will play. Now, the problem for Phillip Rivers is, let's say he's the number 2 quarterback and he actually suits up for the game. Even if he doesn't get in the game, he has to reset his Hall of Fame clock for 5 more years. Look, Fletch, you know as well as I do, all the years that I talked, much to the annoyance of San Diego Charger fans, I always felt like Phillip Rivers was not a Hall of Fame quarterback. There really is no one comparable. There's only 2 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era that have made the Hall of Fame that did not play in a Super Bowl. One was Dan Fouts, and we're like, well, he had a better record than Dan Fouts. Dan Fouts broke the NFL record for passing yards 3 times. He rewrote the record books. And then there's Warren Moon. So this story has been so overplayed. It's fun. He's a grandfather, the whole shebang. But ultimately, I sincerely doubt that Phillip Rivers will actually step on an NFL field again.
Steve, Bills, Patriots, Bills on the road favorites this week. Where are you leaning on this game, and like where do you see both these teams as threats? Who's a bigger threat in the AFC playoff field?
Look, the bigger threat, this is interesting, Sammy, because, we were talking about this past week, and we're just looking at, is this an aberration, what we've seen this year in the NFL, or is this a passing of the torch? Are we replacing Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow for Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Bo Nix? I mean, is this an exchange going on right now as far as the elite quarterbacks in this league? We're going to find out a lot more, obviously, with this Pats-Bills game. I mean, there's a reason the Bills are favored. They have the league's reigning MVP, who, by the way, engineered a pretty impressive comeback against the Bengals in the snow. So my gut feels like the Bills should win this game, but the Bills have not played well all year, and the Patriots, who've had by far the easiest schedule in the NFL and have taken full advantage of it, to me, are still a completely unknown quantity. So, we talked about the playoffs. I mean, if there's no Lamar Jackson, if there's no Patrick Mahomes, the path is clear for Josh Allen. Like, this is it. Like, you literally have a path to win the Super Bowl, win the AFC championship with those guys out. Can he take advantage? I think we're going to find out tomorrow.
Steve, do you think that's a problem for this league that 3 of the top 4 quarterbacks might not be in the postseason this year with Burrow, Mahomes, and Jackson?
By the way, I meant Sunday on the game. I don't know if it's a problem. Like I said, I mean, Fletch, are we looking at the new faces of the NFL in terms of the quarterback position? You know, I mean, it's been a disastrous year. Burrow and Lamar Jackson haven't been healthy. And even though Mahomes has played, you know, I think he's 3rd in the NFL in QBR, his supporting cast is subpar, and their supposedly great defense is let down over the last several games. So, no, I think it's an opportunity for the NFL to introduce new stars, you know, much like we had a new star in Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow just a few years ago. So, look, the NFL, it doesn't matter who they throw out there. It's going to be a story. I mean, like I said, if we're going to make a story out of this Phillip Rivers thing, well, I guess we can make a story out of anything. But, yeah, I don't think it's not going to really affect the league. It's just going to be an opportunity, perhaps, to introduce the new star quarterbacks in this league.
Steve, switching to baseball real quick. What do you make of the Mets being spurned by, you know, Alonso, all these guys, Dodgers getting Diaz? Like, where do you see the MLB landscape in the winter meetings?
Well, first of all, the Mets didn't even offer Alonso a contract. They didn't get spurned. They never offered Alonso a deal. So, you know, I guess they had already decided to turn the page on Pete Alonso, and he's going to try to help the Orioles bounce back from a bad year. As far as the Diaz signing is concerned, look, everyone's like, wow, what a signing for the Dodgers. I'm like, yeah, they gave Tanner Scott more money than they just gave Diaz last year. How did that work? Oh, that's right. He set a franchise record for blown saves in a season. If you look at Edwin Diaz's career, it's a roller coaster ride, like most of these closers. He has a good year. He has an off year, good year, off year, good year, off year. He had a good year last year, which means he's due for another off year. He has not had back-to-back seasons with sub-2 ERAs throughout his entire career. Plus, he missed an entire season a few years ago. So, the Mets, and I don't know quite what the Mets are doing. Obviously, they got a lot of explaining to do. But if you're the Mets, you had one of the all-time collapses in Major League Baseball history. So just how valuable are these guys? They kept their best player. Lindor is their best guy, and they're going to have to build around him. But I guess they felt like, why are we going to pay Pete Alonso $35-40 million a year? Doesn't make any sense.
All right, Steve, I'm going back to Phillip Rivers and Steve Hartman joining us on San Diego Sports 760. But I understand your answer. I understand your thinking of it. But let's play the what if game. What if Phillip Rivers is suited up as the starter on Sunday, which, according to guys like Adam Schefter, it might be a 50-50 shot that he's going to be the starter on Sunday. 44 years old, grandfather.
I'll put it this way.
Steve, how's he look on the field?
He's thrown a couple of passes in practice. I mean, think about this. They reached out to other quarterbacks. You know, Kurt Warner in an interview said for 5 years after his last game, he was still getting phone calls. For 5 years. Derek Carr got a phone call from the Colts. He got a couple of calls last year. He says, I'm retired. Why Phillip is doing this? I mean, obviously it's Shane Steichen. It's a relationship with Shane Steichen. He knows the offense, but are you kidding me? In the middle of a season, having not played in the NFL in 5 years, going against one of the absolute best defenses in the league that will be blitzing the crap out of him. And think about this. One thing we know about Phillip Rivers, he had a very unique throwing style that he throws to space. In other words, whether it was Keenan Allen or whoever he was throwing the ball to over the course of his career, he throws to space because he has a connection with the receivers that they know where that ball is going to be. He has no connection with any of these receivers. He didn't know any of these guys. They don't know Phillip Rivers on a field throwing them the football. He has a unique style. And when it's on, he's on target. When he's upright, he's on target. He's not a mobile quarterback. So, I mean, the idea that he's going to go out there and throw 4 touchdown passes and 350 yards against that Seattle defense is fantasy land.
But it's not going to happen.
My only concern about Phillip Rivers is not getting hurt.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying, and Sammy's brought up a lot of these points too, and now I feel like I'm talking to the same person over and over again. But it is fun to think about the fact that Phil could put a little nicer ending on his NFL career than like during COVID when none of us could even talk to anybody. And he was, this kind of frustrates me, Steve. I don't know if you can tell. Came out yesterday. Kyle Shanahan said Philip Rivers was minutes away from being a 49ers quarterback in 2022.
All right. So let's play fantasy land, okay?
Please.
I won't even call it fantasy land. Let's just say that he goes out there. And by the way, as soon as, the backup quarterback is ready, he's going to go back in there. Let's just say he has one glorious game. Just unbelievable. Like he has this one glorious game. Great. But what if it's not? I mean, what if he gets hurt? I mean, what if he goes out there? I mean, he won out on top. He had led the Colts to the playoffs. There was no doubt he could still play at that point. 5 years ago, he could still play. He chose to walk away. We were stunned. A lot of people thought, why are you doing this? You just led the Colts. That's a good team. They have a great offensive line. Why are you still not playing? He had made the decision. He wanted to coach his son in high school. Great. I mean, Philip Rivers is not going to do anything to enhance his Hall of Fame candidacy. His career is in the books. So this can only end up one of two ways if he plays, and that's still a big if. But if he plays, either he writes the greatest Cinderella one-game start in the history of the NFL, or it's a disaster. I don't know if that's worth rolling the dice, but Rivers is loving the attention right now, and he's gotten a full week of it. It's great. I'm not rooting against him, but I mean, there's no precedent, obviously, for what he's trying to do. No quarterback of his stature. There have been some backup quarterbacks, were out for a while, came back and played awful, but there's no precedent for an elite quarterback as Rivers was to take off 5 full years, come back and look like he never stepped off the field.
Yeah, but why else would you get off the couch, Steve? Why wouldn't you just stay retired if he's not going to go out there and play?
Philip Rivers. I mean, here's what you guys should do. You should call Nick Hardwick. Hardwick says
Nick's pretty busy. He's coaching with the Chargers.
Nick lives in Indianapolis.
Steve.
I mean, I don't know why he would do it. I mean, like I said, he did it because Shane Steichen asked him to do it. That's why he did it.
Steve, on a different note, I don't know if you heard about the positivity bunny that the Eagles employed in their locker room on Monday night and then took down. What is your reaction to Monday night's game? The Chargers, Eagles, do you think the Eagles are unfixable right now? Where are you at with them?
Well, in a lot of ways, the Eagles are like the Bills. Before the season, that was my predicted Super Bowl, and neither team has played well, and yet they're both in the playoff mix. I mean, the Eagles still have a 1.5 game lead over the Cowboys to win the NFC East, as bad as they're playing. I don't know. My weekend producer, Bo Benson on the national show, is a diehard Eagles fan, and even the day after they won the Super Bowl, I said, you got to be excited now. He goes, I'll be more excited when we get a new quarterback and a new coach. He was anti-Jalen Hurts after the Super Bowl, and he hates Nick Sirianni. So I don't know where this is going for the Eagles. They've gone sideways pretty much like the last time they were in the Super Bowl. So again, guys, I don't know if we're at a point where it's just the whole season's an aberration, or we're literally seeing a change in the guard. And over these last 4 weeks, all the buys are done now. 4 weeks, we'll see how this plays out. But the Eagles are bad. They're not a good team. They've just lost 3 straight games, not looking good. And Jalen Hurts was awful in that last game. How do you have 2 turnovers on the same play?
Yeah, that was kind of amazing. All right, Steve, we're going to run out of time, so we're just going to do 2 games this week. Hope you're okay with that, but I'll pick the 2 best games of the week. Bills at Patriots. Bills favored by 4.5. Which way are you leaning?
Bills are up to 4.5?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
No, sorry, that's where it opened. That's where it opened. I apologize. It's fallen down to 1.5. It opened at Bills 4.5.
I was going to say 1.5 sounds right. I'm taking the Bills. I'm going to ride with the Bills. I might be wrong in this one, but the idea that they're going to lose twice to the Pats, I don't see it happening. I'll take the Bills.
All right. Then the other one is Rams, Lions. Rams hosting. Rams favored by 6.
the Rams had a nice bounce back game. They really got things rolling. I think the Lions are in deep trouble. They're going to miss the playoffs. I see another Rams blowout. It's amazing how you don't talk about that Chargers-Chiefs game. How's that not on the list?
You want to pick that one too?
Well, do you want to talk about it?
Well, I did last week. I try to do Sammy a favor by picking the Chiefs to lose, and they did lose. I don't know, Sammy. I'll spare you, man. They're one loss away from officially being eliminated from the playoffs. It's rough.
I know it's brutal, Steve.
I mean, I don't know if there's a bounce back. Mahomes still has prime years ahead of him, but I don't know if Andy Reid's long for the job.
What? No.
Andy Reid's choice or the Chiefs' choice?
Look at Pete Carroll right now. Look at Bill Belichick. That's what you're staring at.
He went to 3 straight
Reid.
Super Bowls. This is the first year he's going to miss how can we say that?
I can say that. I mean, again, you know how quarterbacks can literally fall off the cliff like a Peyton Manning or a Brett Favre, everyone but Tom Brady because he was getting juiced. Here's the thing. Coaches have the same way. Like Pete Carroll just fell off the map. Bill Belichick just fell off the map. Andy Reid has just fallen off the map. You're going to have to get a new coach.
Falling off the map, Sam.
Get the right guy.
No, we're rolling with Coach Reid.
Falling off the map. Steve, thank you, man. We love you, even though I don't know if I agree with any of your Philip Rivers talk.
I hope, I'll tell you what, Fletch, I hope next Friday when we talk, you're like, I told you so. I told you Rivers had something left. I'll be like, dude, he shocked the world. I never saw it happening. That could be next Friday.
We'll see. I'm hoping for it too. Talk to you later, Steve.
I love you guys.
Steve Hartman, the best. One of the best to ever do it, if not the best. We appreciate his time each and every week. All right, we close this thing out. Coming up next, plus Sammy and I'll make a couple picks for you on our way out the door at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long for a final time here on a Friday. I was really hoping I would get an Adam Schefter tweet over the last couple of minutes that said Phillip Rivers has been named the starter for the Indianapolis Colts.
I can say it's 50-50 right now.
Yeah, 50-50, man. I don't know. What I can't wrap my head around is why would Phillip Rivers get up off the couch, expose himself to all the media, go through all of this if he didn't have an opportunity to get out there?
Well, yeah, I think look no further than the Hall of Fame getting backed up 5 years. Why would he just come out of retirement to not play? I think he's playing on Sunday. I would be very shocked if you go through all this to just start Riley Leonard.
I do too, and I hope the best for him. I really do. All right, Sammy's long shots today were Shedeur Sanders more than 181.5 passing yards, Jamar Chase more than 88.5 receiving yards, Josh Allen more than 35.5 rushing yards, and Jonathan Taylor more than 20.5 rushing attempts. You feel good about that one?
I feel good about it. I think Shedeur is going to have opportunities to hit deep shots on that Bears defense. I think Josh Allen's going to have to go Superman. When he does, he usually runs. Jonathan Taylor, I think you got to protect Rivers a little bit. You cannot just throw him out there to be getting sacked by one of the best passers in the league. I like this parlay, and Jamar Chase is going to go for his friend Joe Burrow.
I would tend to agree. Now, the two biggest games of the weekend in my eyes are the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills. That one's in Foxborough. Bills favored by 1.5. I would lean Bills on this one.
I would too.
And that will be a part of whatever parlay I cook together for this weekend.
I would too. I think the Bills need it more. And I think the Patriots also have not been tested against some of the top competition in the league.
Patriots also might have a little bit of looking forward to the postseason, where the Bills need this to get into the postseason. So yes, I would lean Bills on that. And then Rams, Lions. I'm going far away from where Steve went. I'm taking the Lions to win here.
I don't know if they win, but certainly if I'm betting +6, you're giving me 6 points with that kind of offense, I would definitely lean Lions because they just, again, you're looking at, they need it more. The Rams need it because they want the number 1 seed, but the Rams going to be in the postseason. The Lions literally need to get in the playoffs. They have to win this game.
Right. All right. Those are my two picks. That's going on a parlay for me this weekend. Absolutely. And I am a biggest Indianapolis Colts fan I've ever been in my life because they're playing against the Seattle Seahawks. And man, I sure would like the Niners to jump them. And I want to see Phil go out there and ball out whenever his Joe Biden little image on Prize
Phil Rivers hopefully cooks on Sunday, and we're coming in Monday talking about
5 touchdowns, 350, light work.
I mean, that would be, if that happens, that gives us a lot to talk about. So I'm for it.
Light work. By the way, Marty Caswell interviewed Chris Berman, from ESPN.
She did?
Yeah, on her Instagram page. And Chris had some hilarious stories about Phillip Rivers going over to start. So go check those out on Marty's Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're out of here. San Diego Sports 760. We'll see you Monday.